Many people around the NBA believed that the New York Knicks would sign a star or a superstar this offseason. Unfortunately, they failed to do so. But according to Bill Simmons, an NBA insider, he actually guarantees that the New York Knicks will sign one of these three superstar players. We're going to break down what players he's speaking about and how realistic it is that the New York Knicks will end up with one of these players in the future. We're going to look into this and so much more today. Let's get started. Bill Simmons believes that the New York Knicks will trade for a superstar player within a year's time. Now, Bill Simmons used to work for ESPN. He is an NBA insider. He runs an NBA podcast, and he has a lot of league sources that he knows. So if Bill Simmons is saying this, I definitely believe it. And on the recent episode of his podcast, according to DailyKnicks.com, Bill Simmons predicted that either Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, or Donovan Mitchell will be in New York within a year. This is his exact quote. They'll get one of these three guys. I guarantee Giannis, Embiid, or Mitchell will be on the team from a year from now. This news, after I heard it and read it, made me extremely hype and excited because I've wanted the New York Knicks to trade for a superstar player basically since I've been a Knick fan, because that would signal that the New York Knicks are looking to contend for a championship, especially if they don't have to gut their team to get one of these players. But I think every single New York Knicks fan would jump at the chance to either get Giannis, Donovan Mitchell, or Joel Embiid on this Knicks team, especially if you don't have to give up the farm to get one of these players. And Bill Simmons basically gave some reasons on why he believes that these players are going to be a New York Knick or could potentially be a New York Knick player within a year. According to Bill Simmons, he said that Donovan Mitchell will be out of Cleveland within a year. And according to Daily Knicks, that prediction isn't far-fetched. And it isn't, because if you've been listening to ESPN, Brian Windhorst, Tim Bontemps, they've basically stated the same thing. They believe that Donovan Mitchell is not going to stay in Cleveland. They believe he's not going to sign an extension with Cleveland. And they believe, just like Bill Simmons believes, that Donovan Mitchell's days in Cleveland are numbered. They're being counted down. Let's not forget, Donovan Mitchell, offseason after offseason after offseason, normally finds himself in New York City, either watching Mets games, seeing his father, hanging around the city, or even as of recently, playing pro-run basketball with Trae Young and Jacob Toppin. Again, I'm just saying, when he has the opportunity or the choice, he always seems to find himself in New York City. Regarding Embiid, Bill Simmons says the following about that situation. Simmons described the Embiid situation in Philadelphia as a slow motion car wreck, which is true. The worst of it hasn't happened yet. Harden's already called Daryl Morey a liar and said his relationship with the organization isn't repairable. So imagine the entertainment that training camp will bring. Simmons is not wrong here. James Harden in the situation in Philadelphia is toxic. It is not going to get fixed. He's going to get traded. The question is it going to be before the season starts or is it going to be by the trade deadline? Because that's essentially what you're looking at. But I think we all know that James Harden is not going to finish this season as a Sixer. And if that's the case, Joel Embiid may also not finish the year as a Sixer. Because as Ramona Shelburne recently reported of ESPN, he's watching the situation in Philadelphia and being patient with it. He's going to ride out the drama. But riding it out doesn't mean accepting everything. And if it keeps getting worse and worse and worse in Philadelphia, Simmons' prediction here will ring true. And potentially, one of these three players in Mitchell, Embiid, or Giannis will join the New York Knicks. And the reason he's listed Giannis, if you guys don't know, is because Giannis recently had a New York Times sit-down interview where he said that he wants to win a championship, and that's his mentality. And if the Bucks are not committed to that, or he feels that they are not committed to that, then he's not going to sign an extension. So that basically left the door open for Giannis to go to another team. And then an NBA insider, Mark Stein, basically stated that if Giannis left Milwaukee, two major markets in the Lakers and the Knicks could be potential destinations. So that's why Bill Simmons has also listed Giannis as one of the players to watch as a superstar the Knicks could potentially get on the team. Now, even though you may not think that Donovan Mitchell is a superstar, he might be knocking on the door of superstardom. And if that's the case, you want to try to get him, because you can make the argument that Donovan Mitchell would be the cheapest star on this list between Embiid, Giannis, and himself. Not only that, but Giannis and Embiid are MVPs of the league. They used to be anyways. Donovan has not even touched the surface of that as of yet. And until he does, his value is always going to be a little bit lower. So maybe that makes sense in terms of Donovan joining the Knicks, or at least the Knicks having a more realistic shot in a trade package to get Donovan. Because I think that a Giannis or Embiid trade package likely means that the team is going to be a little bit more gutted, because those guys are superstar caliber players. They have so many accolades to their names. Giannis won a chip already, and Joel is a former MVP of the league last season. Giannis obviously won it twice. So you have to put those things in consideration when you're talking about trading for one of those guys. So their price tag is going to be very expensive. And even though you may not want to gut your team to get one of these guys, the problem is, because of the player that they are, you might have to gut your team even a little bit to get one of these players. And that's why sometimes fans are put off on the idea of getting one of these players. But I don't think it's far-fetched at all for Simmons to make these predictions, because clearly there are reasons and connections to make them. And I can see them happening given a circumstance or a situation occurring. It can't just happen right out of the blue. But if a situation or circumstance causes it, then I do think it can happen. Well, the real question is, will the Knicks get either Embiid, Giannis, or Mitchell? Well, in my opinion, I don't think that the New York Knicks are going to get Giannis. Because number one, I don't think Giannis is going to leave the Bucks. I believe he said what he said to make a statement, to keep the Bucks on their toes, and to let them know, don't be comfortable that I'm here and I want to win here. Because I want to win regardless. I want to do it here, but if I can't, I don't have any problem doing it somewhere else. So I think that was more of a power play by Giannis. I don't think he's actually going to move somewhere. Now we get to Embiid, and then we get to Donovan Mitchell. Let's start off with Embiid. Connections-wise, Embiid has a lock with the Knicks. Every single NBA league source that I've heard over this offseason has a link that states that Embiid, if he leaves Philadelphia, will probably request a trade to the New York Knicks. So you also have that. Then you have Leon Rose and William Wesley attend Joel Embiid's wedding. Mark Stein basically saying it was not nothing. So I know they had a discussion at some point about something. We obviously can't say what. We don't know the details. But I'm sure it had something to do about him leaving Philadelphia and joining the New York Knicks. So I think Joel Embiid to the Knicks has a lot of smoke there. So I definitely think it could happen. But the only way I think an Embiid trade happens in terms of him going only to the Knicks is if he tells the Sixers openly that he only wants to be traded to the Knicks and no place else. If that happens, I can see him being a New York Knick. But honestly, if you're Daryl Morey, it makes no sense to trade him to a division rival, number one. Number two, if you're going to do that, you're going to ask for the moon from the New York Knicks. Leon Rose, I don't feel, is going to do that. And any smart GM is going to try to move an MVP of the league to the West, so you see them less. So I see that happening there. So Joel Embiid to the Knicks, there's a shot that it happens, but only a shot. I don't put a high percentage on it happening just because of the players involved, and also Daryl Morey and Leon Rose basically heading the charge on the negotiations. That's going to lead to a clash, and not a good one. So finally, we land to Donovan Mitchell. This one for me, most realistic one, and this is the guy that I think will likely be a Knick in the near future. Maybe in a year, maybe in free agency. I don't know, but one thing is clear. Donovan Mitchell is the player on this list between all of these stars that wants to be a New York Knick more than anybody else. He would have been a New York Knick last summer had Danny Ainge accepted a few first-round picks versus wanting 4 or 5 first-round picks like were rumored. So I think there was a lot of different situations and circumstances and issues going on at the time that led to the trade not happening. And unfortunately, because of who Danny Ainge is and how Leon Rose operates in terms of not wanting to overpay for anything, it wasn't going to work. And it didn't. And he was traded to Cleveland. Now, even though Mitchell said everything right when he got to Cleveland, said all the right things, said he was excited, he was happy, he wants to be able to play for that team and see what they can do, all those things, talking about how he used to rock for Cleveland as a child. We all get it. I understand why you're doing it, and it's really nice and commendable that you're doing that. I get it. However, we all know you want to be a New York Knick. You didn't want to be in Cleveland. You wanted to wear orange and blue. If for nothing else, it's because you love the Mets, and that's their colors too. And of course, you want to be in New York City. I know there's rumblings about him potentially going to the Nets. Even though that's the case, again, it's always been the Knicks. Even though you can experience New York and be a Net at the same time and maybe not have all the same pressure as trying to win a championship for the Knicks, being a New Yorker and playing for the New York Knicks is something entirely different. And I think Donovan Mitchell can handle that pressure. And not only that, I think he wants that pressure. In my opinion, Donovan Mitchell is the most realistic of this entire Big Three list that Bill Simmons put out there in terms of players who potentially, or in Bill Simmons' case, he's guaranteeing, could be a Knick within a year's time from now. But for me, it's Donovan Mitchell all the way. But what about you guys? Comment below who you think the New York Knicks will get in a year's time. Will it be Giannis, Embiid, or do you think, like me, it'll be Donovan Mitchell? Leave a comment below because I'd love to hear your thoughts. But that's going to do it for this episode, guys. I hope you liked it. Please don't forget to smash that like button because your support matters here. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. But until next time, Knick fans. Peace.